Hello! Welcome to the weekend recap, my friend. Happy Mother's Day to all of the moms out there. They must make up like 0.5% of my audience, but shout out to them all the same. Let's get into the weekend recap here, fellas. Fellas and moms. Fellas and moms. That's not quite a perfect picture of my audience, but shout out to all of them. On Friday, it felt as if Inter were going to fumble the bag and drop points against a stubborn smash-and-grab Empoli side who stole 2 goals in the first half against Inter. Inter were sleepy in defense in the first half, and even sleepier when it comes to their attack as well, until the very end of the first half where Romagnoli helped a DeMarco cross past his own keeper. Whoopsies. Then right before the half, Çalhanoğlu cut it back to Martinez, and the boy lashed it past the keeper. Great to see him find some consistency in his finishing. I apologize to Lautaro, I can't speak on his fishing ability, but finishing and consistency is basically one of the only things that holds him back, and the only thing that really holds me back from rating him as a top striker. And of course, it was Lautaro who put Inter in the lead in the second half, pouncing on a rebound and smashing it past the keeper once again. 3-2, comeback completed, but Alexis Sanchez offered a 4th goal right at the death. Nice assist from Dzeko, nice little assurance goal there. And just as I was saying about Lautaro and consistency in his finishing, 7 goals in his last 6 matches is incredible form, considering there was a stretch in the season in which he went 13 matches with just a single goal scored. On that very same day, Friday, Juve were shocked away to the relegation fighting Genoa, the historic club that was a titan of Italian football in its formative history. We're talking the early 1900s here. Is threatened once again by relegation, however. But on this Friday, they put a marker down for all the other teams around them in the relegation race, as a penalty deep in stoppage time was converted by Domenico Crescito to give them the 2-1 win. And the narrative around that penalty is amazing. Beyond just the fact that Genoa are in a relegation battle, there are 2 other things that make this amazing. 1, they had only equalized against Juve in the 87th minute thanks to Amiri setting up Goodmanson. So that's 1. And 2, Crescito converting this late penalty when just 1 week prior, he failed to convert a penalty in the 96th minute to equalize against Sampdoria. 1 week later, he converts in the 96th minute. Nah, man, that takes some cojones, so shout out to Crescito for stepping up and converting this time. Speaking of Sampdoria, they went away to Lazio this weekend and they were beaten relatively comfortably 2-0. Huge match for Luigi Alberto as he set up Patrick in the first half and scored a beauty himself. Stunning goal, the way he rolled it around the keeper, then nutmegged the defender to convert. Chef kiss moment, baby. And with that 2-0 win, Lazio are in some of the best form of any team in Serie A. 13 points from a possible 18. Napoli are showing some fight to close out this season, even if the bad run of form saw them ultimately bow out of the title race. But this weekend, away to a very, very much informed Torino side, they got a 1-0 win with a Fabian Ruiz goal being the difference. Prior to that, however, Mertens won a penalty that Insigne stepped up to take, but it was saved quite well by Berisha, and yet another missed penalty from Insigne this season. And later, when he was clean through on goal with Lozano to his right wide open, he tried to go himself. When squaring it would have been an easy goal for Lozano, saved by the defender. Sunday morning saw Atalanta beat Spezia away 3-1 after Muriel and Verde had gone goal for goal in the first half. A Jimsiti header from a Demiral headed assist was what eventually won the match for Gasparini's men, but an insurance goal from Pasalic took it beyond Spezia, who will now be watching their backs quite nervously with 2 matches remaining. Man, I thought that Venezia's Twitter had absolutely f***ed it again when they basically tweeted, what a relief to be 2-0 up after all of these hard times lately, eh? Which is basically just begging for something bad to happen, begging to be featured on images that precede unfortunate events. From 2-0 down, Bologna pulled it all the way back to 3-2 Bologna. Basically, take that Venezia tweet and frame it at that time. But a 78th minute equalizer from Aramu paved the way for a Dennis Johnson 93rd minute winner for Venezia. Huge 3 points as they are not mathematically... You know what? Let's bring up the bottom of the table. They aren't mathematically relegated, but they would require Salernitana to lose both of their matches as well as other results to go in their way, and they would have to win 2 matches up against Roma and Cagliari. That will be a big one. Speaking of, Cagliari and Salernitana drew 1-1 on Sunday. Now, at the top, AC Milan coming from behind to beat Hellas Verona. Massive shout out to Rafael Leão, the cutback king, and Sandro Tonali, who scored a brace on his 22nd birthday. It's all in Milan's hands at this point. With 2 matches remaining, they play Atalanta and Sassuolo, while Inter take on Cagliari and Sampdoria. Advantage Milan in the table, advantage Inter with the remaining fixtures. They will also have the Coppa Italia to play, which is worth noting, I guess. Could Levante make a late push for salvation? These dudes have been in the relegation zone for pretty much the entirety of their season. A strange team that is capable of playing well now and then and getting big results against top teams, but they suffer more goals than any other team in the league. And when that happens, you can assume you'll be in some hot water, even if they score more than any other team in the bottom half of the table. But this weekend, they got a massive 3 points against none other than Real Sociedad, beating them 2-1. With 3 matches remaining, they sit 5 points behind 17th place Granada. Speaking of, by the way, Granada also had a massive victory as they took on a team that sat 3 points ahead of them prior to their Saturday meeting, Mallorca. And didn't they just go ahead and absolutely destroy Mallorca this weekend? My goodness, 6-2 from Granada away. They went to the island to give Mallorca a personal baptism by fire in front of their own supporters and to overtake them in the standings as well. Granada are unbeaten in 3 matches now. Valencia and Athletic Club drew 0-0. Curious to hear whether Valencia will be happy with Bordalás' first season. I certainly expected a bit more from them, but that's just me. His former side Getafe, they also drew 0-0 up against Rayo Vallecano. Cadiz made moves to survive another season as they beat down on Elche 3-0 at home, which puts them 3 points above the drop. And of course, Barcelona had a tough match up against Real Betis, Copa del Rey champions, I'll have you know. And Barcelona rose to the occasion thanks to a late winner from Jordi Alba in the 94th minute. Barca looked like they would take the lead in the first half on a couple of occasions, but it took until the 76th minute for the substitute Ansu Fati in just his second appearance since returning from injury to put Xavi's boys ahead. They would be cancelled out by Marc Bartra, but in the 94th minute, Dani Alves played a stunning ball into the path of the other fullback, Jordi Alba, and he smashed it past the keeper. That was Dani Alves' 100th assist in La Liga, and what an assist it was. 2-1 Barca. In an underwhelming Sunday, we saw not only Getafe and Rayo 0-0, but a Villarreal and Sevilla 1-1 on top of Espanyol versus Osasuna 1-1, and finally a Madrid derby that saw Atletico versus Real Madrid's second and third stringers in some respects. Vallejo and CB and Jovic as striker. I mean, you know the big boys were resting or injured. And so naturally, the out-of-form Atleti managed to get a win thanks to a Carrasco penalty. 1-0 there, as I suspect that Carlo Ancelotti was watching AC Milan versus Hellas Verona in the dugout. But that's just me. As we look at the scores and standings, it was still a big 3 points for Atleti as they now have a 6-point lead over Betis with 3 matches remaining. And let's see if Villarreal can hold off at Athletic Club for that European place. That's going to be thrilling. Bayer Leverkusen's fantastic form continued this weekend as they also continue to score goals for fun. Playing away to Hoffenheim, a former rival in the standings up until the last couple of months, Leverkusen got a 4-2 win with a brace and an assist from Patrick Schick, while Moussa Diaby also got a goal and an assist. As their stocks continue to rise, buy and hold those Patrick Schick and Moussa Diaby stocks. Bochum, after spoiling the party for Dortmund last weekend with a surprise 4-3 win at the Signal Iduna Park, played host to Arminia Bielefeld, who are fighting for their lives at the moment, and Bochum don't care. With a 2-1 win, they have officially condemned Arminia Bielefeld to either an automatic relegation or at the very least a place in the relegation playoff. And while I say Bochum enforced it, the own goal from George Bello in the 89th minute, oof. If they are to go down, he will be replaying that moment over and over in his head, the poor guy. Wolfsburg took on Köln in a match that the latter absolutely had to win in order to give them the best chance possible at a European place, but Florian Kohfeld's Wolfsburg revolution continued as the 1-0 win ensured that Wolfsburg's form in the last 6 matches is 7th best, certainly an improvement from their time under Van Bommel. Kohfeldt, for all of the criticisms we've had for him in the past, has done a great job of ensuring Wolfsburg are more than safe. In fact, he has them just 5 points behind Hoffenheim at this point, which says a lot really considering how far down the table they were back in the winter. From 15th to 12th, which doesn't seem like a big move, but we'll see later how congested mid-table is and how 3 points in their final match could take them as high as 9th or 10th. Doesn't get them anything, but hey, looks better. Another team that has had a great surge is, of course, Mainz. If these guys didn't have yet another major COVID outbreak this season, I would be curious to see how that would have affected their place in the table. But anyway, they beat Hertha this weekend 2-1. Ahead of them in the table, Union Berlin got a massive result up against Freiburg as the Berlin side looked to play spoilers on Freiburg's top 4 hopes while trying to solidify their place in a European place going into the final match day. Union smacked up Freiburg 4-1 away, truly impressive, and Union will face the pesky Bochum side on the final match day. Borussia Dortmund, they bounced back against Greuther Fürth. I mean, you would hope they could at the very least beat Greuther, and they did so no complaints there surrounding Marco Rosa. Brandt opened the scoring while Ngakam drew level in the 70th, but 2 goals in 5 minutes from Brandt and Pastelak brought the win and secures second place for Borussia Dortmund. Gladbach and Eintracht drew 1-1, while Bayern and Stuttgart drew 2-2, which keeps them within a shot of overcoming Hertha in the standings if they can beat Köln, though Köln have European aspirations themselves, so it will be a tough match. Speaking of which, RB Leipzig smashed Augsburg 4-0, and Nkunku with a brace to take his tally up to 20 assists and 34 goals from 50 appearances across all competitions. Huge win not only for Leipzig's Champions League hopes, as they are the masters of their own future now, but also to get back into form for the Pokal final as well. As for the standings, you can see that Leverkusen has their place in the Champions League locked in, while Freiburg and Leipzig will do battle for the final spot. Freiburg plays Leverkusen of all teams away, while Leipzig will play Arminia Bielefeld, advantage Leipzig. Oh, and these two will actually face each other in the Pokal final as well. Freiburg and Leipzig, that is. Another disaster for Manchester United as they went away to the home of Graham Potter, and the man absolutely ravaged them 4-0. They've been in fantastic form lately, Brighton that is, and this win is obviously no exception. It was just 1-0 in the first half, but spurred on by Leandro Trossard. In the second half, they added 3 goals in 11 minutes. 2 assists from Trossard and a goal to round out a fantastic half for him in Brighton. Another embarrassing performance for United in general, and De Gea in particular. This time, while he isn't anywhere close to his best this season and has certainly been to blame for some goals, he's simultaneously been one of their better performers, but definitely had blood on his hands in this game. McTominay as well, who is increasingly getting less and less patience from even his most ardent supporters. United are in a weird place now as they don't play for another 2 weeks. They've played 37 matches, whereas most have played either 35 or 36, so I guess United is just going to be big chillin' for 2 weeks. Just going to training, not really doing anything. Weird. I don't understand why they rushed to get all of those matches in that quickly. I guess it was just sort of luck of the draw, given all of the COVID outbreaks this past season. So, hey. Aston Villa handed Everton and Leeds a lifeline by beating Burnley 3-1. Danny Ings, legend, getting in on the action once again as he continues to be integral to Aston Villa's attack. Buendia and Watkins also providing some goals. That's 2 in 2 matches for Watkins as well. Chelsea, I mean, I told you guys they're bad vibes FC at the moment. They put in a performance against a Wolves side that has been struggling a lot in recent times, going ahead 2-0 thanks to a brace from Romelu Lukaku in the second half, only to blow their 2-goal lead at the end of the match. Trincão pulled one back, while a 97th minute equalizer came from Connor Cody for Wolves. Both goals were set up by Chiquinho, by the way. Huge performance from him to drag this back for Wolves, and honestly, Wolves needed this badly. They too have been slumping, far worse than Chelsea, of course, but slumping all the same. So 2-2 the final there. Brentford's great form continued with a 3-0 victory over Southampton. Another assist for Christian Eriksen, by the way, as he has a goal and 3 assists from 9 appearances for Brentford. By the way, his contract with Brentford was only until June. Given the quality of his performances for Brentford and the effect he has had on the squad, I'm sure a few teams will be watching him very closely. In fact, since he joined Brentford, the points return they have had since that date would have put them in 5th, which is pretty wild. West Ham trashed Norwich 4-0 to get over their Europa League semi-final elimination, and I believe no ball boys were bullied by David Moyes on this occasion, so that's a double win for West Ham. Arsenal, they went 2-0 up and then 1-man up in the first half against Leeds United, only for the second to have moments of fright for the North London club. Llorente pulling one back for Leeds felt like there could be a moment for Leeds to get back into this game, but Arsenal saw it through, getting an important 3 points in a 2-1 victory while simultaneously condemning Leeds United supporters to an incredibly scary final 3 matches as they now sit in the relegation zone, having to play Chelsea, Brighton, and Brentford. And finally, the title race. I think the ramifications of the matches are more interesting than the matches themselves. As a potential banana skin for City, Newcastle United completely brushed aside 5-0 by City. Brilliant performance from Jack Grealish as he was a thorn throughout and finally got an assist right at the death as he set up Sterling for a second. De Bruyne was brilliant as well for City. Nothing new there. Liverpool, on the other hand, had the unenviable task of taking on Tottenham at home, a different beast under Antonio Conte. And while Jurgen Klopp complained about their negative tactics after the match, saying, maybe it's just him, it's a problem for him only, but he doesn't like their style, it was good enough for Tottenham to pick up a point at Anfield, Heung-min Son getting yet another goal, then Thiago setting up Luis Diaz for the equalizer for Liverpool. So that means that Man City are a full 3 points clear of Liverpool with 3 matches remaining, with just the league to focus on. However, Pep did say that Ruben Dias, John Stones, and Kyle Walker won't play again this season, so defend as little as possible and play on the front foot, as always, will be the way forward for City. A reminder of the final 3 matches for each side. Liverpool play both Villa and Southampton away before facing Wolves at home, while City have Wolves and West Ham away, Villa at home. So who has it worse? My gut says City have it worse, as swapping Southampton away for West Ham away is not easy. And at the bottom of the table, Norwich and Watford are relegated, while Leeds, Everton, and Burnley will battle it out. I already mentioned who Leeds is playing, but to compare the 3, here you go. Who has it worse? And with that, we are finished with this episode here. Thank you as always for coming through to all you moms out there. And leave a like if you enjoyed this one. My name's Adrian, and I'll see you later this week for more content. 3 to 5 videos every week on Rabona TV. Come on! Subscribe if you're new, alright? Take care.